Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this momentous gathering. I'm Alex Johnson, President of the Georgia Republican Assembly and the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. 10 years ago, when I ran for chairman of the Georgia GOP, I asked a simple question: what kind of party do we want to be? Back then, much of the party seemed to blindly support anyone who won or bought a Republican primary victory. This was deeply concerning and a clear recipe for disaster. I campaigned on the idea that the party desperately needed to focus on empowering and educating voters, standing for principle, and getting more people involved to win elections and not lose the state. In 2013, this idea was considered radical and rejected by 60% of the delegates, many of whom were part of or influenced by the paid political industry, the lobbyists and consultants who profit by keeping their friends in office. The paid political industry, the puppet masters behind the curtain. These paid political insiders dismissed us as fringe, radical, simply because we demanded accountability from politicians. Now, a quick word on the paid political industry. There's a small group of people who profit from politics and have influenced or run the Georgia GOP in the past and still run the RNC. Their primary concern is money because it funds their staffs, political consultants, and lobbyists. They are the reason Ronna McDaniel is still chairman of the party despite grassroots opposition. These paid individuals have ample time to connect and incentives to befriend people in the media and politicians, in contrast to the general public and volunteers like all of us. That's why when you turn on the TV, you'll hear a bunch of political experts, most of whom you don't know personally and are simply mercenaries, opining about how we need to be moderate or principleless and to win, and how some politician who helps pay them and their friends is doing it right, doing politics right. That is why the media got it wrong about Donald Trump in the 2016 primary. They listened to the wrong people, the people who are working for the traditional spineless candidates. Just like the paid political industry has an incentive and time to befriend the media, they also rely on politicians to pay them or be their bosses. And most politicians, their main goal is getting reelected. These selfish decisions, driven by a shameless desire to get reelected, brought us the bank bailouts from 2007 to 2010 and the COVID lockdowns and incessant government spending starting in 2020 to present. So that leaves us with a current system. The mainstream Republican and independent public is, I believe, 90 to 100% in agreement with us, the GRA. The paid political industry finds us, quote, radical, because we want politicians to keep their promises and not just fund cronyist, lobbyist projects. So they talk to their friends in the media and try to define who we are. And the media enjoys the fighting and the division because it's exciting to them and gets clicks from the public. So they repeat the narrative. Our mission is clear. We must overcome the toxic influence of the mainstream paid political industry. In 2015, I became president of the GRA when we had about 5 members. We wanted the GRA to be a beacon of hope, a rallying point for those who felt left behind by the party, and a force for good within the Georgia GOP. I was committed to ensuring that instead of Republicans leaving the party due to the hostile, paid political industry behavior, people would join the GRA, be empowered, and work to ensure that the Georgia GOP began to grow and reflect and represent the Republican public. GRA members would be the examples, the leaders, and the informed activists in their communities and local parties, helping to guide their communities towards making informed decisions in politics. We would defeat the nihilistic and selfish political industry and empower principled people to run for office and be elected to both public office and to party office. Since then, together, we have seen phenomenal successes. We have over 1,000 members. You have helped elect GRA-endorsed candidates to the State House, State Senate, as well as to congressional and constitutional offices around the state. Over the years, you have helped elect principal GRA-endorsed Republicans to public office, including, but not limited to, Senator Colton Moore, who is here today, former Representative Matt Gertler at the state level, who's now, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. For party office, you have been even more successful. Before this year, you had been successful in having many GRA members and endorsed candidates in Georgia GOP office. Most notably, David Schaefer as party chairman, endorsed and supported by the GRA since 2019, and Brant Frost V as party second vice chairman and your GRA first vice president. 2 years ago, the GOP establishment kept out principled leadership in the Fulton County Party by having more votes than eligible voters. And they kept out principled leadership in Chatham County by shutting down a convention when they realized they didn't have a majority of the delegates. They cheated. Before this year, the GOP establishment relied on deceit and manipulation to hold on to power. But this year was different. Your national directors, Catherine Bernard and Nathaniel Darnell, and I helped lead convention trainings throughout the state to prepare people for the convention process. The entire executive committee provided guidance and work to educate and coordinate various volunteers and members about how to win. And win we did. Because of all of your hard work, this year, there are too many victories to count. Victory after victory, you have demonstrated the strength of our grassroots movement. You all helped us dismantle the GOP establishment within the party and push the paid political industry and their followers out of party leadership throughout the state. Your dedication and tireless efforts have transformed the political landscape of Georgia and the Republican Party. Marcy McCarthy, GRA-endorsed candidate in my county for DeKalb chairman, won re-election unanimously. Sally Grubbs from Cobb County, not even won re-election, but valiantly endured criticism from the paid political industry and its followers for entrusting GRA members, such as Nathaniel Darnell, with key positions at the convention that helped ensure that many paid political industry operatives will not be harassing you and your efforts at the GOP state convention. Joanna Hildreth, GRA secretary and Catoosa County chairman, was reelected overwhelmingly after local rhino politicians had attempted to organize and try to silence the party that was critical of them. And Joanna turned out even more support. Stephanie Andres, GRA-endorsed candidate for Fulton County chairman, was victorious after the cheating travesty of 2021. She's the current Fulton chairman now. And Brittany Brown, Southeast Georgia Republican Assembly leader and endorsed candidate, also led the effort to finally take back the Chatham GOP for the people and away from the paid political industry, and was successful. They won in a landslide. And there are more. I learned earlier that Hart County, we have chairman there. We have lots of victories around the state, but these are just a small sampling of the many victories this year on the county level. On the district level, GRA members, endorsees, and supporters were elected overwhelmingly to be district chairman and sit on the state committee to lead the GAGOP throughout the state. While there were many victories, and I don't have time to go through them all, one of special note was in the 11th district, where GRA-endorsed candidate David Oles, with the help of GRA state leadership and Cherokee County RA chairman Richard Jordan, and GRA member C.V. Dinsmore, the Cherokee chairman, successfully staved off attempts to replicate the Fulton County-like cheating from 2021. because they were trying to throw out the Cherokee delegation by the paid political industry supporters, and ultimately David was elected overwhelmingly as district chairman. None of these victories, and I mean none of these victories, could have been accomplished without you, without your work, support, knowledge, and efforts to bring people into the GRA. You are the examples, the leaders, the informed activists in your communities and in your local parties to have led people to make good, principled decisions. These victories are yours. Together, we have achieved incredible success, but our work is far from over. You have a GOP state convention coming up, and that convention will choose the officers of the GOP for the next 2 years. That decision will be critical to defeating the Democrats in the years to come, as well as how we will deal with people claiming to be Republicans, yet betraying us and our principles. Your endorsement and involvement in the state convention is crucial in ensuring that we continue to elect principled leadership who will stand for the values and vision of the Georgia Republican Assembly. Your vote and your voice matter. You also will have an opportunity to influence party rules at the upcoming GOP convention. You will be able to decide on and vote on proposals to improve the way the GOP operates. Last week, I submitted a proposed rule change that would allow Georgia GOP delegates at convention to choose to prohibit politicians from being able to qualify or run as Republicans, so that if Republicans betray your principles, you would be able to prevent them from ruining the Republican brand and costing us elections against the Democrats. That, in addition to many other topics, are the decisions you'll be able to make making in Columbus at the upcoming state GOP convention. You are a part of the NFRA, a nationwide movement and organization trying to sell our country from the Democrats and from the corrupt political industry that has cost us so much. Thank you, each of you, for all that you do for the GRA, and thank you for your support of our initiatives. Together, we will continue to fight as the Republican wing of the Republican Party for the soul of our party and the future of our great nation. Thank you for your unwavering commitment and passion. Let's have a fantastic convention. So.